President Biden will deliver the keynote address to the NAACP convention today after pausing his campaign following the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. The president continues to call for unity, but is also drawing a contrast between his policies and Trump's. In an interview yesterday, Biden responded to criticism over some of his rhetoric. Some Republicans say his comments that he made on a call to donors when he used the phrase, "It's time to put Trump in the bullseye," perhaps incited the shooting.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on him. Focus on what he's doing. Focus on his policies. Focus on the number of lies he told in the debate. Focus. I mean, there's a whole range of things that, look, I'm not the guy that said, I want to be a dictator on day one. I'm not the guy that refused to accept the outcome of the election. I'm not the guy who said that one would accept the outcome of this election automatically. You can't only love your country when you win.
All right, our Weijia Jiang is traveling with the president and joins us now from Las Vegas. So, Weijia, this interview had been pre-planned. It was part of his sort of post-debate tour to prove that he still has it. But then since then, a lot has changed. Did we get a little bit of a hint from the president as to how he's going to approach this campaign now, particularly since the shooting, the assassination attempt on Donald Trump?
Well, I think, Anne-Marie, he made pretty clear that he's going to continue doing exactly what he was doing beforehand while being mindful with the kind of rhetoric. But the goal here is to draw a sharp contrast between him and Donald Trump. And even though, some could argue that, for example, he got a huge major legal victory yesterday, the former president, when the judge in Florida dismissed his classified documents case, the president is going to remind people that he is a convicted felon. Even though, this horrific shooting unfolded, the president said yesterday during the interview, when he was asked about his rhetoric and using certain language, he's like, what am I supposed to do? Not point out when something is a threat to democracy. So I think the messaging will be the same. But it will be interesting, Anne-Marie, to see how he sort of walks that fine line to make sure he doesn't cross over anything that could be considered heated, because that is exactly what this election is right now. Very heated, since we are only less than 4 months away from Election Day.
All right, he's in one of those Sun Belt states. Very hard for him. It's tough in the polls for him. What are his plans in Las Vegas?
He is very busy today, Anne-Marie. As you mentioned, he will be addressing the NAACP convention. He is announcing a new housing plan that includes a proposal for rent caps at an economic summit with black voters. He's sitting down for another interview with BET. We love to hear that. But, clearly he is trying to win over black voters. Tomorrow he has a huge event and a speech with Latino voters as well, because both of these groups are key to victory in this battleground state. And so there's no question, Anne-Marie, that he is back campaigning. It's just a matter of what he says, how he does it. And frankly, I don't expect that much to change because they will, according to the campaign, the DNC, they are very clear-eyed about what's at stake here, and they don't want people to lose sight of what they are calling all the threats if the Trump-Vance ticket were to win.
All right. Weijia Jiang in Las Vegas. Thank you so much, Weijia.
Sure.